You're welcome to this personality news program. I am Gloria Okefilzigo. On the program today, our guest is Barrister Abubakar Yesufu. He is the former President, Students' Union Government, University of Benin, and Chairman, League of Patriotic Lawyers. He is also the Ogeneni of Igwebe land. You're welcome to the program.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
All right. There has been a powerful realignment of some political parties. You know, they've come together, which has given rise to a new political group known as CUPP. We could call it CUP. Okay. Are we seeing the end of the twilight of the ruling APC?
Well, in any democracy, you know, the association of disassociation of parties is expected, you know, if it's going to help in deepening democracy. But if the intention is to merely grab power, I think it will be selfish and incoherent. Because from what I've seen, it will seem, with due respect, that you know, there are really no ideological backing to some of these group uniting against a particular force. And any system, any political group that has no strength of its own, that is unwieldy, no philosophy for action, for authentic pro-people's ideological construct, can really not carry out the people's dream or people's revolution. It's allowed, it's given in any democracy, but we want it to really be people-oriented, as opposed to the intention of grabbing power, which has bedeviled our, you know, political spectrum of yesteryears.
Okay. Recently, Atiku, former Vice President Atiku, described this present administration as the worst since 1999. That is in terms of fighting corruption. And you, we know, has been a strong supporter of Ibrahim Magu, the EFCC boss. So how do you react to this assertion?
Well, Atiku is an active political participant in our political space. So he's entitled to his opinion. I do not subscribe to that. That this is the worst in quote regime in terms of the quest to fight corruption. I think he's actually at his best trying to you know, play politics, so to say. You realize that only 4 years ago he was an active participant in ousting the now the former president, so to say, Jonathan. Only for him to now congregate or to be the meeting point for ousting this new regime. He has the right to do this, but I don't agree. I don't subscribe to that opinion. I defend his right to say that, but I disagree with what he has just said. Because if you look at the commission you just mentioned, Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, the pillar behind that commission is Ibrahim Magu. Yeah. Ibrahim Magu is not only my personal friend and one of their strategic thinkers. The commission has done a lot in fighting corruption. The system has done a lot in putting the hitherto now secret cows for trial. You realize that the first time, in fact, the issue of Magu, this is the first time where the so-called cabal, you know, united with the National Assembly to really fight the confirmation of one man, because you know, they were kind of scared or concerned that his commission will, or headship of the commission will rattle the Senate and the leadership of the National Assembly, so to say. So little devil wonders that, you know, that was the only time where they came together and said this man should not be given the pride of place. Suffice it to mention that even Ibrahim Magu, has like his predecessor, I'm talking of the indigenous man that started the commission, Ribadu, has escaped about 4 assassination attempts. Funds have been made available to buy properties in his name, to stigmatize him. But like the philosopher would say, when the evil plotter beats his drum for the downfall of the innocent, the gods will not let that drum sound. I am miffed, at times scandalized, that those people who are even attacking the commission, you know, once there's any problem, they normally say, why has the government not called out the EFCC to investigate same? They don't really relate to the regular police. It stands to reason that the EFCC has something to offer. You know, I remember what is common in most of our police stations, So if you don't like the police, next time you're in trouble, call the talks. I wonder why they still refer to the commission as the only body that can really midwife the fight against corruption. And at the same breath, they're asking for the head of the commission. And also at the League of Patriotic level, we don't subscribe to the opinion that they're trying to strengthen the commission by removing its head. So I think the best way to strengthen an institution is not necessarily by removing the head, it's to strengthen the head, because this idea of asking the head to be removed, or voting money, colossal money, to ensure it's removed will go nowhere. You will realize too that Ibrahim Magu is a very ruthless man when it comes to corruption. We first met him when his in-law, Bulama, the MD of Bank of the North, now defunct, had some conflict with the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. Not only did Magu arrest him, Magu assured that he was tried and jailed.
Okay.
So that shows you his ruthless nature. That shows his transparent nature. So
I
don't agree with Atiku that the fight is ebbing. But like I told you, he's entitled to his opinion, and like they would say, gossip you not air disputadium. In matters of opinion, there can really be no dispute.
You mentioned the League of Patriotic Lawyers,
yeah.
And that group you are the chairman.
Yes.
That group was the first to, place a ban on Mieti Allah, the Cattle Rearers Association.
Yeah.
The ban which you placed on them, you even had a World Press Conference to that effect.
Yeah.
Was that ban really necessary?
Yeah, we actually called the federal government, and we are still standing on it, that Mieti Allah Breeders Cattle Association should be banned, should be proscribed. Because, if you look at the World Global Index of Terrorism, it becomes fourth. An association like that has been stigmatized or dubbed bad and terrorist inclined should not have his role to play in our social circle. If an organization like IPOB, the hitherto now proscribed Biafra group, was banned, suffice it to say that the leader Kalu had no catapult. He merely was carrying about his Jewish rope and stick, and yet he was banned. And the government called out his army under the Operation Python Dance, whatever that means. And the poor boy was hustled and hustled into exile, or so it seems. So I believe that what is good for the goose is also good for the gander. We're still calling for the ban, not only for the ban. If you read that our press conference, we are not only calling for the ban, we are calling for the arrest and trial of all these leaders.
Okay, all right. Recently, we were shocked that the human rights family, consisting of, but not limited to, the Falanas, the Tunde Bakare, Wole Soyinka, suddenly they lost the steam to call out for people for demonstration, strikes, as it was then. The habit of this group of people, these human rights activists, and in previous administration, is this an endorsement of Buhari's second term? They've not called for any strike, they are not protesting anything.
Well, let me be very, very frank from inception. At our own level, League of Patriotic Lawyers level, we are, to a very large extent, we are apolitical. Even though, they say that everybody is a political animal. If you are not one, it's either you are above or below humanity. You're either a god or a beast. But I think, people tend to make, a very big mistake when they accord strength that does not belong to the human rights circle to them. Human rights circle, they are groups of men, so they constitute of various groups, so to say. And they have been doing this very well. You mentioned specifically Bakare,
Femi
Falana, others. Let me be very, Wole Soyinka. You will realize that the Nobel laureate Wole Soyinka has not lost any steam. Only recently, during the June 12th investigation in Abuja, even when he was called to deliver a speech, he did not miss words in lambasting and lampooning Buhari's government. He said, you cannot canonize, so to say, Abacha, and at the same time edify June 12th. Femi Falana, you have said in the history of legal practice, his office is the most profound when it comes to pro bono matters, and you will discover that he is also limited. He's tried his best. He's if you realize the most prominent human rights abuse that is taking place right now, ongoing, because the man is still in custody. This man they are trying in Kaduna now. If you can remind me, that would be very helpful. Zaki.
Okay,
Zaki. Falana is doing that case virtually on pro bono basis. Falana has called out, a lot of his friends and associates both within and outside the country, that anything that has to do with detention without trial, torture without justification, and even release without apology should be abhorred. And he has done this with the instrumentality of the law. He has no gun, he has no whatever, and he's been trying to do this. And, so I don't think that they have slept on their rights. They've been trying within, their limited powers. And the system should be able to give them, a pride of place when it comes to issues like this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and now to the judiciary.
Yeah.
How would you assess the role of the judiciary in building or deepening democracy, especially as dividends get to the common man?
Yeah, well, the Nigerian judiciary is up to his task. He's doing his best within limited resources too. Some members of the judiciary, so to say, if you look at the bench, if you're going to take that as a congruent, part of the judiciary, you discover that you have some members that are, well attuned to deepening democracy, while others see some government decisions, especially the arrest recently of, some Supreme Court judges and all that, as an affront to the judiciary. So they kind of taking it back on the judiciary. That some decisions taken to the appellate level is being thrown out, regrettably so. And if you look at the bar, practicing members of the bar, you will discover that some are doing very well, settling well. And again, some too, I would want to believe that, like is common in our profession, they have not lived up to their billings. So if a brief comes to your office, no matter how robust, I think you should have the moral conscience to deny same if it does not tally with your, ideological construct. Because you are not just an officer of the law, you are standing for posterity, your children and all that. And if a client says this is what I want, and you see it does not tally with your professional ethics, you should, no matter your political callings, you should be patriotic enough to deny that brief and advise your client to either take a bow or to plead guilty, as Lord Denny would put it in the case of Rondon versus Wonse. Say a legal practitioner has a duty to the court, which is very sacred, which is paramount. That is a lie for anybody to suppose that is a mouthpiece for his client to say what he likes, or an instrument to direct what he pleases. He said it's not of this. And he went further to say that use a cause. He has a duty to a higher cause, and that is the cause of truth and justice. He went further to enumerate this role. One, said he must not consciously misstate the facts. Two, he must not knowingly conceal the truth. And he must not bring a charge of fraud when he has no evidence to substantiate. And it ends thus. It must disregard the most specific instruction from his clients if it conflicts with his duty to the court. He said the law which allows a barrister to do all this is a code of honor, not necessarily, a code that is cast in, in the Hammurabi code of conduct. But unfortunately, some members of the bar, haven't reached that zenith of practice, which also goes with robust financial status. Yeah. They defend anything defensible, despite their political callings, and they take whatever they want to do. And as a matter of fact, that reminds me, we have a specter that is haunting our political space, and that is the specter of populism. People trying to use the people to serve their selfish interest. This is what we call argumentum ad populi. And because the people do not understand, they go along this line. Hitler used it in the Second World War, 39 to 45. Donald Trump also used this, populism, to win election. America, let's get back America and all that. We should be able to discern, we should be able to distinguish this call for, weak people, so to say, mental.
What do you think makes these people weak? Is it literacy or poverty?
Well, that's part of it. In history, in analysis, there's no monocausal explanation for any event that takes place, so you cannot ascribe to a single factor. The economy is recessed, no doubt about it. That's what the people should talk about, not this PVC thing, which is also important. They should talk of social justice. And when you talk of social justice, you start talking about making improving on the lives of the people so that we will not be able to buy their votes for a morsel of bread. So until you realize this social justice, the issue of secret adherence to PVC as going to be the magic wand that will change the audience table will be like blowing muted trumpet, to use one of our popular...
Talking about the PVC and the votes, on a final note, 2019 is very much around the corner.
Yeah.
So what's your word for Nigerians who
Yes.
are watching you right now?
Yeah. Well, what I want to tell Nigerians is that the future, tomorrow, next year, will be determined by the people. And that's why we also call for this independent candidacy, so that you'll be able to appraise the candidate and all that. If you look, I'm not saying they do not have the right to associate. What I'm saying is that for too long a time, we'll be taken for a ride. But I think this time has come for us to really say that we are tired of this being led by the nose. So the future, tomorrow, will not be determined by any of these general or any congregating members of the public whose agenda is selfish, but the future will be determined by Nigerians.
The people, all right.
Yes, by